Hey, how's it going, guys? MrBossFTW here, and in today's Grand Theft Auto 5 video, we're going to be talking about 15 vehicles that need to be buffed, nerfed, or have their classes completely changed. So I saw this post on the Grand Theft Auto Online Reddit by Keeps Slipping Away, who actually organized a couple of classes and a bunch of vehicles that either need to be changed, buffed, or nerfed. And the goal with this would be to properly balance the classes so that they would be more fair, and that the vehicles that would be in them would actually perform like they belong. So we've got a lot of vehicles to get into today, so let's not waste any more time, and let's get it started. All right, we're gonna start with the muscle car category first. One of the biggest changes that should come from this one is the Moonbeam or Moonbeam Custom. Why is this in the muscle car class? It literally can't compete with any of the muscle cars. It would be much more competitive in the vans. Even though for the most part you can't really use vans all that much in races, it just simply doesn't make sense to be a muscle vehicle. I don't know why Rockstar included that in the first place. Let's move on to sports cars now. The first offender is the Blister Compact. It literally has compact in the name. Why this is in the sports class, I don't know, but this should 100% be in the compacts class. It just makes way more sense. The Comet Safari. This needs to be put in the off-road class, or at least be able to use them in off-road races. Now, another suggestion I saw is we should have a rally type class. I know Rockstar, it's been like 4 years, they haven't added a single new vehicle class in the game, but adding rally cars would be cool. I think at this point we have enough for like rally style vehicles. You could do the Tropos, the Omnis, the Safari, the Sentinel Classic, the Sultan Rs, the regular Sultan, the Kuruma would be a really good one as well. You could even throw the Sterling GT in there, the LG Retro Custom potentially. So there's a lot of vehicles that could work for a rally class, and the Comet Safari is just really awkward in the sports class. It doesn't perform all that well in normal street and city races. It's just kind of like an awkward sports vehicle. So that's one I think should be moved as well. After that, we have the Drift Tampa. Why this isn't a muscle car, I will never understand. What is the regular Tampa? A muscle car. Rockstar puts drift in front of the name, it becomes a sports car. And what's such a shame is this car doesn't even drift. This is supposed to be like Ken Block's Mustang, but it's like not even close. It just doesn't drift at all. It has no slidey abilities whatsoever. So the Drift Tampa needs to be a muscle car. It just doesn't perform well in sports at all. After that, we have the Futo. The Futo would fit well in the compacts class. This doesn't really belong in the sports class. It's basically just a little compact version of the Sultan. So why would it not be in the compacts? I feel like it would make it a little bit more competitive and, of course, add some variety to the vehicles in that class, because the compacts, there's not many. There's only like a handful, like 5 or 6 or 7 vehicles in that class. Okay, up next, we have the Ocelot Lynx. Now, I don't think this vehicle is in the wrong class, but it needs to be buffed. It is incredibly slow for how expensive this car is. This car is $1.7 million for a sports car, and it's one of the worst in the game. Now, it's beautiful. It has amazing customization. I want to say it's based off of the Jaguar F-Type, which is a really cool car in real life, but the Lynx sucks when it comes to performance, and it is a huge shame. So it doesn't need to be dropped classes. It's in the right class, but it's ridiculously slow given how expensive it actually is. After that, we have the Pariah. This is one of the new vehicles that Rockstar added in the Doomsday Heist. This vehicle either needs to be nerfed or it needs to be brought up into the supercars class. So not only is it the fastest vehicle in the game, it's the fastest sports car in the game, it would be the 5th fastest supercar. So I think it would be a lot more fair in the supercar class as far as competitiveness goes, because if you go into a normal sports car race right now, if someone has the Pariah, they're going to use it because it is that much better than every single other sports car. And not even by a little bit, by a lot. Like the Massacro, the Jester, the Feltzer, all those are essentially left in the dust when this vehicle comes to town. So I would definitely say the Pariah either needs a nerf or needs to go up to the superclass. Moving on, and up next, we have the Revolt Er. Now, the Revolt Er is not out yet, at least when I'm making this video. It's a drip feed car, and this one just doesn't belong. I think it's based off of like a Cadillac or a BMW hybrid. I'm really not too sure, but this vehicle, it just doesn't perform well like a sports car. It honestly belongs in sedans. I don't know why Rockstar felt the need they had to put this in the sports category, because it doesn't perform well as a sports car at all. It is also weaponized too, which is a little bit awkward. I'm not sure why this vehicle out of them all got the weaponized choices. To me, it just seems way too long, lanky, and bulky to be a proper sports car. So this one, in my opinion, might be the most controversial of the list. I'm really not too sure. Maybe because it's brand new, but the Revolt Er is a vehicle that I just wouldn't put at all in the sports car category. After that, we have the Schwarzer LWB and the Schwarzer V12. These need to be put in the sports class. I don't know why they're not in the sports class. We have four-door sports cars, but for whatever reason, these are in the sedans class. And the reason these are so broken is because of their top speed. These things are faster top speed-wise than most supercars. And in a sedan race, that will absolutely crush the competition. So these need to be bumped up to the sports car category. There's no problem with having a four-door sports car. We've seen plenty of those in the past. So the Schwarzer LWB and V12 need to be put up there. Also, another benefactor vehicle, the Schwarzer, this needs to be put in the coupe class. It's in the sports class, but it is incredibly uncompetitive. So I'm not sure why Rockstar decided this would be a good class for this. It has really good customization. It's a unique vehicle, but it just doesn't belong as a sports car. It's got to be in the coupes. After that, we have the Sentinel Classic, one of the new vehicles Rockstar added in the Doomsday Heist or Festive Surprise DLC. This does not need to be a sports car. This needs to be a sports classic. I mean, it's in the name. Gosh darn it. Sentinel Classic. It has to be sports classic. It is so uncompetitive in the sports class because there's so many other better vehicles like the Pariah, one we just mentioned, a couple of other ones as well. So dropping this down to the sports classic category would make it pretty competitive with some of the other sports classic cars. Turismo Classic, Cheetah Classic, and Furnace Classic. It would be really fun to race alongside those vehicles instead of getting smoked by the Pariah and the Massacro. And the last sports vehicle we're going to be taking a look at is one of the newest ones, the Strider. Why is this a sports car? It's a 4x4 off-roading SUV. It does not belong in the sports class. Rockstar really goofed up on this one. There's no reason at all why this should be a sports car. You got to move the Strider to the SUVs, or at least at a minimum to the off-road. So now let's move on to supercars, and we're going to be talking about the Bullet. So the Bullet is a pretty garbage car in the supercars class, and it's even pretty bad in the sports class. So there's a couple things that could happen with this. You either got to buff it, or you need to drop it down to another class. In fact, the Bullet, I know it's supposed to be a supercar based off of the Ford GT, but it might serve better as a sports car. I mean, it's one of the worst vehicles in the game. I mean, it is such a shame that Rockstar have completely ruined this amazing vehicle. So either drop the Bullet down a ton or buff it a bunch. After that, we have the GP1. So I would say the GP1 needs to stay in the supercar class. I don't think it needs to be dropped down at all, but it needs to be on par with a vehicle like the Penetrator or just below the Tyrus, some of the other McLaren vehicles in the game. So in case you don't know, the GP1 is based off of the McLaren F1, and it's pretty criminal that this is one of the slowest in the supercars class. So that's why I think it should be below the Tyrus. It should stay close to the McLaren family. But because it's one of the worst supercars in the game, you never see really anyone driving this, which once again is a huge shame because this has some of the best customization for a supercar that we have in the game. All right, and the final vehicle we're going to be looking at today is the Sultan Rs, which once again, I don't think this needs to be a supercar. I get what Rockstar was trying to do by when you make it a Benny's conversion, it becomes a supercar, but it's useless in supers. It cannot compete at all. Getting back to the point we mentioned earlier in the video, there almost needs to be a rally class in the game, which would consist of vehicles like the Sultan Rs, the Omnis, the Tropos Rally, which literally has rally in the name, the Tyrus, vehicles like that. I think that that could be pretty cool as well, but being a supercar, it just simply doesn't belong. And an honorable mention to the supercar class that I want to include is the brand new SC1 that Rockstar introduced with the Doomsday Heist. I want to say this is supposed to be based off of the BMW i8, or at least some sort of BMW. What was the point of even making this a supercar? It is honestly one of the worst in the game. Like, it's incredible how bad they made this supercar. It's almost like Rockstar can't seem to figure out what to do at the moment because they make some vehicles in the sports class like super overpowered, and then they make the original supercar they added with the Doomsday Heist, the SC1, completely awful, but then the drip feed one they actually make pretty decent with the overflawed Autard. So I don't understand Rockstar, but I think the changes we talked about in this video would definitely be like a nice quality of life upgrade. I've been talking about that for a little bit, that Rockstar should definitely make some quality of life changes, and this would be one of them. Reorganizing the classes so that they are ultimately made a lot better for racing, and so that their performance metrics and stats can more properly align with the class that they're in. But anyways, I'll leave a link to the article that I'm using in the description, so if you want to check it out for yourself, you can. It's pretty interesting, but I'd also love to hear from you guys in the comments section down below. What are some other vehicles that you think Rockstar have messed up, either class-wise or that need to be buffed or nerfed? I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments section down below. If you did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And also, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new. You like daily GTA 5 videos like this. With all the way, guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.